Coming up next on Arizona Horizons Journalists Roundtable, Governor Brewer unveils draft legislation to broaden Medicaid eligibility. An appeals court okays the use of money from a mortgage settlement fund to help balance the state's budget, and a bill to raise campaign contribution limits advances at the legislature. Those stories and more next on the Journalists Roundtable.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizons Journalists Roundtable. I'm Ted Simons. Joining me tonight are Jeremy Duda of the Arizona Capital Times, Steve Goldstein of KJZZ Radio, and Luigi Del Puerto of the Arizona Capital Times. The battle over Medicaid expansion in Arizona is now center stage at the legislature this Jeremy after the governor releases her ideas in terms of draft legislation.
Yeah, we've been waiting for this for a while, which we kept hearing from lawmakers. Most of them said, well, I don't have an opinion yet. I'm going to withhold judgment until I see the plan. Now we've seen the plan. This really more or less begins the efforts in earnest to actually get this through. It's kind of been a theoretical exercise so far. Now we've got a bill that you can look through, you can pick apart, see what you like and don't like. They're going to be having informational hearings in the House Appropriations Committee next week. And it's hard to say where it'll go from there because we still don't really know what kind of strategy they're going to use to push it through the legislature, whether it's going to be a standalone bill, whether it's going to be part of the budget, as a lot of lawmakers are asking for. But things are really kind of getting started now.
If it sounds like it's going straight to appropriations, though, the House Appropriations Committee. Wouldn't that suggest a budget bill? That's
what the Republican leadership is pushing for. This informational hearing, actually, which is kind of interesting. Initially, they'd planned to have this in the House Health Committee, which is chaired by Heather Carter, who's an ally of the governor's, who's basically the biggest supporter, the most vocal supporter of this in the legislature. She's kind of quarterbacking this in the legislature. And House Speaker Andy Tobin said, well, this is part of the governor's budget. We think it's going to be a better fit for APROPS, so we're going to put it there instead. And APROPS, of course, is chaired by John Kavanaugh, who's one of the most vocal opponents of this in the legislature.
Indeed, as we heard last night when he was on the program debating it. Steve, any surprises as far as, this is pretty much what the governor laid out earlier, correct?
Right. I wouldn't see any surprises in it. I think she was pretty straightforward. Even in her State of the State address, we had a pretty good idea this is the direction she was going to go. What surprises me slightly, and I'm not saying there's going to be any movement as of yet, but when we consider a couple of sessions ago, Senate President Andy Biggs, not the president then, had even floated the idea of eliminating access altogether. He actually seems slightly more receptive to at least hearing the bill than Speaker Tobin does. So that's an interesting dynamic to watch.
And yet, we had both of them on this week, the leadership on this week as well, and not a lot of excitement here regarding this. This sounds like can this be compromised? Can things be picked and chosen and moved around?
There's always room for compromise, and I think what we're hearing is that it's even possible that Andy Biggs would let this go on the floor for a vote, even though he will not vote for it. And of course, Andy Biggs is one of the biggest critics of this proposal. As Steve had mentioned, he tried to eliminate access a few years ago, and he wanted just to have a discussion about it. Immediately after the governor unveiled the specifics of her plan, Andy Biggs dug in pretty hard, and he said, well, look at this provision that would require the state to ask the federal government for their approval of our assessment and our methodology of how we arrive at this assessment fee. And he said, well, that's unconstitutional. So and the fact that Speaker Tobin essentially transferred the hearing to a less friendly a committee next week means that we're seeing this dance getting just intensified.
And the governor said basically that people will blame Republicans if folks in mid-treatment are knocked off the rolls, if hundreds of thousands don't get coverage. She's appealing, obviously, to their political instincts.
Her strategy on this is pretty interesting. And even we heard the Chamber of Commerce, Glenn Hammer came out and said this is going to get through. It reminds me a lot more of Proposition 100 than it does, for example, of all the immigration bills, where business community was sort of quiet. Now they're out front, they're being loud on this. They've even said they'll support Republican lawmakers against primary challenges if, in fact, they support this, which I think is pretty interesting as well.
Well, indeed, who's louder, business community or the rank and file, the grassroots Republican Party?
The grassroots is louder, the business community has more money, and this will be kind of an interesting matchup next year if you see some of these lawmakers who vote for this get primaried, because, the opponents, their strategy is, they're going to all the district meetings, the county party meetings, the precinct committee men, getting them to pass resolutions, asking the governor to oppose this. And we've seen this in the past on other issues where they'll threaten to primary Republican lawmakers who don't who vote their own way. We've seen this on immigration legislation. We've seen that threat on the governor's sales tax stuff a couple of years ago. But there's a lot of threats going around. People are talking about recruiting candidates against lawmakers like Heather Carter and the other five Republicans who stood with Governor Brewer during the rollout on Tuesday.
And there are more people than that. I mean, we know you guys are down at the Capitol every day, so know more about what goes on in the heartbeat. But there are the votes for this. In the Senate, absolutely, positively, the votes are there. The question is whether leadership lets this get through or not. And I think this is where the governor's power, if she has any left, is she going to force the holding of bills? Is she going to try some tricks herself to make sure these get heard?
There are votes, I guess, for a straight-up vote. But what about this two-thirds business? I mean, is there going to be a straight-up vote and then immediately challenge saying, nope, 108 applies here?
If the governor and her proposal does not include a Prop 108 clause, which would require two-thirds vote, if this proposal gets through, the likelihood of it getting challenged in court is pretty high.
Yeah, you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. But if you read the language of Prop 108, I mean, you could argue that this violates the spirit of it, raising, $250,000 plus in taxes every year and not having a two-thirds vote. But the language of the law allows you to authorize a department head to raise a fee. Now, this has never been used anywhere near for as much money as this, but under the strict language of the law, it seems like it doesn't require two-thirds.
Back to the governor's strategy, I thought an interesting quote was, I believe on KFYI radio, but I'm not sure. I'm pro-life. We're talking about saving people's lives. That's an interesting quote.
Well, and not to use another source, but E.J. Montini wrote about that in the Arizona Republic, this column that where was the governor on saving lives before when people were kicked off the rolls before. The strategy is very interesting because I would think that the business community would tend to be, as we talked about already, the chambers of commerce, that's where the money is. And yet, if you want to hit some of the grassroots folks, you want to hit them on these social issues, people thinking about the pro-life aspect of it. It's very interesting. There are so many different angles to this strategy. Will they work together in sync?
And in fact, that to me was the most interesting comments that the governor made, that everything else we sort of expected, but for her to make the argument, to make a compelling case that this is a pro-life position, that surprised a whole lot of people. Some don't agree with that this is too severed from the usual pro-life issues that we see. But I was talking to Chuck Coughlin the other day, and he's an advisor to the governor. He's also one of the lobbyists who's pushing for Medicaid expansion. And he said, well, you know what? The governor has been very clear when it comes to the most vulnerable, that to her, one core function of government is to ensure that those folks are taken care of. And that's why, even though she had made cuts a few years ago, she did it. It was very difficult for her. It was very tough for her. But she did fight for softening of the cuts for the mentally ill, for example. She had fought for the homeless folks when she was on the county, Maricopa County Board of Supervisors. So to Coughlin and to many others, for the governor to say this is pro-life, it's not really startling. It's not really that surprising that this is in line with her views of government, of the function of government.
Who is Heather Carter, and how much pull does she have to get this thing through?
Well, I mean, it goes before her committee. If that's where it goes. I mean, she'll probably have a lot more pull. There's a lot of people over there who support her. She's, second-term Republican representative from the Cave Creek area, known as, more of a moderate than some of her colleagues. And she immediately jumped on board when the governor unveiled this plan back at her State of the State as one of the big supporters. And it became pretty apparent pretty quickly that she was going to be kind of leading the charge, at least over in the House on this.
Okay, but again, is she the kind of, down there at the Capitol, is this the kind of person that can lead a parade, can lead a march?
Yeah, I mean, she certainly has the personality to do it. She's very good at what she does. People respect her. She doesn't have as much clout as, we say, someone would be in leadership. And ideally, in big proposals like this one, you would typically see members of leadership carry the water for legislation like this one. But in this particular case, she may be the perfect lawmaker to carry this and even introduce this as a bill.
And one final political point related to leadership, Ted, is that it's very interesting to see former Senate President Steve Pearce so far out front on this.
Yes.
Probably wanted to give Andy Biggs a swift kick somewhere. So I think this is one way he can do that. I mean, I think he sincerely supports it, but there's also a little bit of that.
I think Bob Worsley was up there as well, making his presence known. So,
yeah.
all right. Well,
how much does Brewer wish Steve Pearce was still Senate President right now?
Well, there you go. All right. We had a court decision, the Arizona Court of Appeals ruling on this. This was a story from a while back regarding the mortgage settlement fund that some thought was supposed to go to settling mortgages, but apparently it went to, some of it, to the state's general fund. Talk to us about it.
Right. So Arizona is one of those states that got, I think, about $100 million from a settlement with 5 big mortgage lenders for their inappropriate lending practices. And so that money is supposed to go for house counseling, legal aid, and helping those folks who are facing this difficulty. What the legislature did last year was to sweep $50 million from it and say, well, we're going to put it in the general fund. And of course, if it's in the black hole of the general fund, you can use it for any other reason other than helping out those who are facing this mortgage difficulties.
And Attorney General Tom Horne was among those saying this is perfectly appropriate because some of the state was hurt by the mortgage crisis, so help.
Initially, he was against the sweep, and then he changed his mind and said, this is the property of the state,
yes.
And so the state could do whatever it wishes with it.
Vindication for Horne?
I don't see it that way. I see it as Tom Horne kind of rolled over, and now he's decided the legislature's on his side. Because as Luigi said, he initially was going to fight this and then decided. So I guess Tom Horne can kind of take vindication, whichever side he wants to be on this one.
All right. So basically, do you think this is going to go to the Supreme Court?
It's very likely it will
Very
get
likely?
appealed, yes.
Okay. And we have a bill to raise campaign contribution limits as well. This is an increase with individuals and what PACs and super PACs. What's going on here?
Well, Arizona has some of the lowest campaign contribution limits in the country, and a lot of folks here, especially conservatives, want to raise those. This proposal would raise it to the federal limit, which is $5,000 per person. $2,500 for the primary, $2,500 for the general, which as opposed to about now it's $912 for a statewide race, $440 for a legislative race. So this is a massive increase.
And this is the kind of thing that will make it, won't make it, bumps along the road?
I'd be very surprised if it didn't make it, because I think there's been a clamor that, especially with clean elections, that the limits have been too low. And I also see this as another way for the business community to reassert itself again. Hey, we're not going to let these clean elections, what they were calling wackos before. We're going to have more than the mainstream people we want to get in.
Now, you mentioned clean elections. One thing that's very interesting about this is the path the legislature is taking may not actually work, because the Clean Elections Act, which established the Citizens Clean Elections Commission, that actually regulates the contribution limits for private campaigns. It says, in a very roundabout way, it just said whatever this statute says the limit is, we're cutting it by 20%. Now, so under the interpretation that's always been used at the legislature, that means this is subject to the Voter Protection Act, which means you can only change it with a 3/4 vote, and it must further the intent of the voters.
And that's a tough. Now will that pass? A 3/4 vote?
It's very unlikely, unless they can. The way this is typically done is that if you want to do something that would directly impact clean election statutes, you get everybody to agree. So then you don't have a lawsuit. Then you can get 3/4 vote. In fact, when they did that giant compromise a few years ago with clean elections, they had pretty much everybody on board, and that's the way to do it, and that's the way they've always done it, to avoid the requirements of a 3/4, or not to avoid the requirements of a 3/4 vote, but to satisfy those requirements.
And we should mention, along with the clean elections aspect of all this, it negates the intent of clean elections. Those opposed say it discourages the non-rich from donating to campaigns. So
that's always been the argument.
That's yes. So, okay. Photo radar restriction. Are we still fighting the photo radar fight?
Ted, I was going to say, I normally wouldn't feel empathy for an inanimate object, but I look at those enforcement cameras and I really feel sad for them, because initially there was that pilot project on the 101 in Scottsdale. Engineers, transportation folks thought it worked fine, and then Governor Napolitano had to mention something about how this is going to help the state's coffers, and since then it's opened up the floodgates. So Representative Debbie Lesko has introduced, it passed 47-12 in the House very easily, going forward to limit. Cities and ADOT have to work together to show that cameras are there for safety purposes. They have to have numbers to prove this.
So basically a study, you have to present some sort of research, some sort of matrix here?
Exactly. It's not just saying we think this will do the job. This is the reason we need it. These roads are unsafe. These are some of the accidents we've seen there. People are speeding and they're causing the accidents. So in that sense,
And also in that, are cities happy about this? I mean, this sounds like, yet again, the state kind of intruding on city business.
Well, the cities have traditionally opposed any measures that would eliminate photo radar. There was a measure proposal earlier this year to just ban it throughout the state, and that failed. But this wouldn't completely eliminate cities' ability to do this, only if it's on a state highway, which is, there's about 10 cities, I think, who have these. This was all inspired by one photo radar camera on Grand Avenue in El Mirage that some people complained to Debbie Lesko about.
And it doesn't actually eliminate municipalities' ability to set up these cameras. It just says you have to prove, you have to justify their use.
Yes.
They're actually saving lives and they're for public safety reasons. And I think I read somewhere that the town of Prescott Valley, which has those cameras on Route 69 and 69, a state route over there, and very prominent, by the way. They're saying that, yeah, we can show, we don't have a problem with this one because we can show that there's been a 30% reduction in accidents in this area.
And who do you have to show it to? Do we know? I mean, who
Well,
makes this decision?
They're going to talk to ADOT, but there's already wording in there that ADOT has to talk with folks anyway to determine whether there's a safety reason for this as it is. It's funny, though, with Luigi, I appreciate the letter of the law, what Luigi's saying, but this is just another incremental step to say, whether it's I need to face my accuser, whether it's this shouldn't be used for money, there are all these underlying issues there that eventually people want to get rid of these completely. I wonder what Paradise Valley thinks about that.
We have a, yes, really, with the cactus, the fake cactus out there. A controversial gun bill passes. Now, this is the one, there's so many here, Jeremy, but this I believe, is the one where if it's a rural district, a certain number of miles away from law enforcement or the military, who can carry?
Yeah, schools can designate a teacher or an administrator to carry a gun. They have to be trained and certified by the state's law enforcement training organization. And this only applies if you're, I think, 30 miles from the nearest law enforcement facility, or 30 miles and 20 minutes. If you're less than 600 schools. So this is pretty much just talking about small towns and rural areas who are away from larger population centers. And this is, for all the gun bills that got introduced this year, since we came in just following the Newtown shooting, there was so much talk about this. This is the only one that's really moved forward. There was the nullification, the federal nullification law one. That one hasn't gone anywhere. There's one prohibiting cities from destroying guns. That hasn't gone anywhere. There's one arming one person at every school, Tom Horn's proposal.
Yes.
That's not going anywhere. This is really the only one that's moving forward.
And this one likely will pass, you think? I mean, considering how much it's gone so far.
Yeah, it seems like it seems very likely that this is the only bill that would pass that would actually address safety at schools, and it was actually also amended to say that you can't have a shotgun or a rifle, and there was actually an idea pitched by Steve Gallardo, which was also adopted into this bill, that you should have a secure locker at school. So there are safety requirements that come along with having the ability to carry a gun at school in this particular legislation.
You mentioned that bill regarding enforcement of federal gun laws and prohibiting enforcement of federal gun laws. These kinds of bills are just popping up right and left, and they don't seem to be going anywhere. Do we know why? Is this just appeasing the far right and this?
Ted, it's such a complicated issue. I think we talked about, is it mental health do we handle? Do we make sure that there's someone armed on the campus? I think when we go to the point of we're risking lawsuits, federal lawsuits, then that's a real question, as Jeremy and I discussed earlier. Yeah.
I just don't think that the legislature has the appetite that it did a few years ago to have fights with the federal government, go into law, pass bills that would be potentially struck down by the courts. I mean, this is one legislation that I think the Senate Rules attorney has already said would have constitutional questions, and that's why one of the reasons why it was held so long in the Senate Rules Committee, and I just don't see this legislature sort of wading into the fights that we waded a few years ago.
I feel like the latest thing is an interesting sort of last hurrah for Rich Crandall, who's a moderate Republican, one of the few left. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's one of the reasons this one's going forward, even though many Democrats are opposed to it. Even the fact that he was willing to talk with Senator Gallardo at making modifications says something.
Real quickly, before we go, a couple of research reports showing that the governor's plan to simplify the state sales tax, the TPT, if you will, is going to cost perhaps more than anyone had anticipated. Talk to us about this.
Right. The Joint Legislative Budget Committee, which is a nonpartisan research arm of the state legislature, came up with a report. And they basically said, well, look, this would either increase state revenues by $19 million, or it would hit the state general fund by $137 million. And then just yesterday, the Grand Canyon Institute, was sort of a centrist research group, said, well, it would probably impact the state with hit the state's general fund with about $85 million. Now, they're using different sets of assumptions, but the idea is that maybe this is not the time to do something as grand as this one if you're not willing to risk about $137 million.
So you've got that on one side. You've got the point of purchase controversy on another side. Is the simplification plan just not ready for this yet?
I guess we'll find out. It's funny that this Grand Canyon Institute report. This comes just as the governors found kind of a compromise. A lot of the cities were really opposed to this, and once they finally, based on that point of sale thing where they split up the TPT revenues on construction materials, and now that they've finally found something that might be able to, get rid of the opposition of the cities, now you have this new thing where it's going to cost the state a bunch of money, which could potentially, drive some more opposition.
I think the negotiation is very interesting because I talked with Mayor Stanton recently, who seemed like he was trying to hide his giddiness over this because Phoenix is not really going to be hurt by this at all. So it could be the small towns and cities.
And that's a wonderful opportunity to mention we'll have Mayor Stanton on the program on Monday. Thank you so much for the opening. Thank you for joining us tonight on Arizona Horizon. Monday on Arizona Horizon, the U.S. Supreme Court hears oral arguments on an Arizona voter registration case, and we will discuss the latest issues facing the city of Phoenix with Mayor Greg Stanton. That's Monday evening, 5:30 and 10 on Arizona Horizon. Tuesday, we'll look at a new program in Mesa to help convert yard waste into mulch and compost. Wednesday, our weekly legislative update with the Arizona Capital Times. Thursday, we'll discuss Arizona's poverty and income inequality rates. And Friday, it's another edition of the Journalists Roundtable. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great weekend.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.